Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun! The show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On today's episode, Double House. Welcome, everybody, to a special one of 2 episode Pride Month Shonen Jumping the Gun episodes.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3, wow. I don't even know about that.
Well, there might be some bonus episodes.
Yes. Go check out the Patreon.
Gotta get on there. It's only $1.
I am Kermit the Grog here. No funny nicknames on this one. We're trying to be a little bit more respectful and serious on this one. And I am joined by Isekai Sensei-Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good.
Feeling myself right now.
You're feeling yourself. That's what it's about. It's about feeling who you are and your body. And today, as the intro stated, we are covering Double House, which, because this is an episode, spoiler alert, is a manga from 1998 that was then fan-translated 20 years after that, and now we're getting to it 6 years after that.
And you'll definitely pick up on this as we go through this, but 1998 really...
1998 Japan.
Yeah. Was honestly very surprised by this content.
I know when you told me the year, because I didn't see it at first.
Yeah.
I just saw when it was translated. I was just like, wow, I'm genuinely in awe.
There's a couple little things in there that are like, yep, that's of the time. But for the most part, it was like, wow, I cannot believe this was 1998.
Yeah. But first, as always, we do have to get through Kermit's patented speedrun summary. Hopefully, respectfully. We open on curtains in a bedroom. The speaker waxes poetic about their blue curtains, the morning being their night, and the light through the curtains being like an imaginary ocean they don't want to wake up from. The first night. We're out on the street. Everybody is making comments about this tall woman. Could she be a man? They gawk at her like a circus sideshow act, completely disregarding her autonomy as a human, but also comment on how pretty she is. Fuck those people. This is Maho, as we'll later learn, and she is headed home from work, the one job she can make a living at, but we're not told what. She calls them all out in her thoughts. Their voices are of those who know they can easily walk the wide, perfectly paved roads before them without any sort of unease or discomfort. I love that quote. That's why I wanted to include it. That has come up at my trans and non-binary meetings, concepts like that.
As a short aside, not entirely fair for women in Japan, but I understand the sentiment.
It's the idea that, we're getting into it in the middle of the summary. It's the idea that even if the road is not great, there is a road there.
That's it, yeah.
There is a path that other people have walked consistently enough that it is paved. That is the idea.
Sure.
Like, you're not just wandering out into the brush where no one has been consistently enough to have made a path. Maho is now at the grocery store, and the camera follows another woman also present. The other woman leaves and is confronted by a very pushy man, which she turns down. The man escalates and grabs her, but then Maho arrives and threatens violence, causing him to flee. Other girl wants to make chase, but Maho says he's already escaped and that she should just be safe and get home. Maho leaves, and it appears the girl is following her. What could she be up to? Maho confronts her, but it turns out she lives in the same apartment building, just moved in last week, as they arrive at the building. It's now that they introduce each other. This is where we learn Maho's name. She just says Maho to clarify, and the other girl introduces herself as Kozu Fujiko, and bid each other good night. Fujiko notices Maho's full name on the apartment sign as she heads to her apartment. I wanted to double check if Maho was... Because Maho, I believe, is on the name sign.
Yeah, it was her full name was on there.
But I didn't know if Maho was her family name or her name. Because like she looks at it and she's like, huh? Because Maho very specifically only like Japanese, you usually get both, but Maho just said Maho, and I didn't know if it was like the reveal or if it's her government name on the the sign. I didn't know enough about Japanese gender names to weigh in on that, and did not remember to ask Ben in time for this.
I think that was her family name, at which the whole point would be that the name that's on the tag would be her birth name.
Yeah, but I don't think it is. I do think it says that, but unless I made that up, I don't remember. Well, you look into that. I'm going to keep going. Maho settles in for the night, removing her wig, and heads to sleep while wondering why Fujiko was out that late. She didn't seem like the type to be out for a night on the town. The second night. We get a shot of cleaners and see Fujiko with them, which admittedly the first time I read this, I didn't understand that was Fujiko. Then cut to Bar Arthur. This is Maho's place of work. A businessman is here bringing two of his younger-looking female coworkers to check out the place, gawking at those working there. Maho catches their collective eye, and the two women chat with her. We get snippets of people talking about her. How tall is she? How she used to be a track star. Maho says she did triple jump very well.
Oh, and can I just say, I found it hilarious throughout this whole thing. People keep commenting on her height. Yeah. She's 6 feet. She's 6 feet. And I'm just like, and? As someone who's 6'3",
a human being is 6 foot in Japan in 1998, right. Already scandalous.
Oh, and while we have stopped, yes. First name, Ryotaro.
Okay, so I can
masculine.
We'll say as I've named it, government dead name, however you want to call it, on the name sign, which is why they spend a panel going, huh? But not too bad of a huh panel. Okay, back in the bar. One of the women working there notices a stain on the businessman jacket and offers to help clean the stain out, and that she's good at that sort of thing. The man makes some very misogynistic points about how this women here are more feminine and that girls today are all high and mighty and that they don't enrich the workplace anymore. Gross. Maho frowns.
You know, I was thinking at this point, I understand what that guy is saying.
Yes.
But also, like, if that's what you want, maybe you should hire people specifically for that instead of expecting women who you've hired for one job to also be the office mother.
Because that's what all women are supposed to be, Brad.
Yeah, right.
All women are queeks. Sorry, I'm getting distracted with memes.
Because that's what he's doing here. He's at a bar that is specifically for, like, you hang out with these women.
Yes, I know. This is especially with 1998 Japan. I'm always like, anytime it's like the cross-dresser button gets hit in a manga, and I instantly go into like red alert level 10, and I don't have to come into that as much because we know Maho is not just a cross-dresser.
But that also makes me wonder, does that guy know where he is?
Because he must. That's the point. Because it's like a gimmick that they are there, and I think he likes being around this like extreme femininity.
We didn't get 100% confirmation of this, but aren't all of the women there?
That was my understanding.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah. The girls comment that they'll have to work hard and are rivals, but another workers, the workers working at the bar, says besides her good looks, she's polishing her feminine charms every day, and that those girls are hundreds of years behind. It's all a messy gender and gender. It's all a messy gender and gender roles scene. Cut to later, the bar had a very busy night, but it's good to be making money despite everything. Yeah, we're post-bubble at this point. We're at 1998's not a great year.
Yeah.
We're fully out of there. Maho is mentioned having cracks in her foundation, and she says she's got cracks in her heart as well. We unexpectedly jump to Maho asleep on the stairs to her apartment. Luckily, Fujiko is walking by and shakes her awake. Maho is drunk and is failing to find her keys. Fujiko ushers Maho into her own apartment to keep her safe. Maho groggily notices she's somewhere else and comments that Fujiko lives alone and shouldn't be letting strangers into her home, specifically drunk ones. Fujiko wanted to help, stating she trusts Maho after she saved her from the other night. Maho seems to be stuck in a drunken depression spiral, not caring what happens to her, and Joke threatens to jump out of her third-story window. Fujiko gets Maho some water to sober up, and Maho notices how small the apartment is, the smallest one in the building and the lowest rent. Maho finally asks Fujiko why she's out so late, and Fujiko says she was a student until recently. She does nighttime building cleaning. It pays better at night than normal working hours. She's saving up to go back to school. Maho doesn't miss school. She hated it. All her memories are bad of it, especially the track team. She mentions just wanting to blend in and making people think she was a normal boy, but she ended up being really good at it. She was scared wherever she was. It was all about looking for a place she didn't have to live the lie anymore. So Maho is now working at this bar. At first, it felt like finally finding her spot, but now, not so much. Maho finally finds her keys and stumbles home, beating herself up for getting drunk and opening up so much. The third night. Fujiko is visiting her sick grandpa at the hospital. He's recovering well and wants Fujiko to live with them again, but she declines. He says he understands her position, but that her parents are really worried about her. We're at the bar again, and Maho sees a rich family in a magazine and recognizes somebody. Is that Fujiko? It's night now, and Maho and Fujiko greet each other from their windows. Maho offers an apology cake for her drunkenness and then invites Fujiko over for tea and conversation.
Can I pause you real quick?
Yes?
I just want to roll back a little bit because I think this is important. In the hospital, Fujiko goes and talks to a nurse who specifically says that she's surprised to see her because her mom told her that she was studying abroad.
Oh, yes. Interesting.
Which she never was.
No, I think that's just like a front for why she's not, like, she's left the family, but they're like a moneyed family, so they have to put up a cover story and not just like, I guess small spoiler for this chapter, I don't think we learn exactly oh no, we do learn why she left.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of, kinda. Yeah. Which I guess I will get to that. There you go. Maho shows Fujiko the picture saying they looked happy. And what is she doing in such a small apartment? Fujiko counters that it's the skill of the photographer and that her family is a mess, hence her escape. Fujiko pushes that her and Maho are more alike, that they each ran from a situation that didn't work for them and found one that did. There are two types of people, those that fit frames and those that don't. Fujiko needed to remove herself from her frame to redraw herself, but Maho doesn't even need a frame. Maho counters that people need frames, otherwise they don't know what to do. People's frames for Maho don't fit. She has to fit in some genre of people or else be a freak. She doesn't really fit her frame as a woman, and it pisses her off sometimes. It's all really emotional dialogue I can't capture here, but I really resonated with it. Amidst all this, Fujiko admits that she's in love with Maho, since the moment they first met, but kind of pulls back on it then. Fujiko then leaves as they both ruminate on the night. Later, the two are out, but Maho is not done up. She's in an incognito mode with hat and shades. They talk about gender presentation and how Maho looks more masculine without her makeup and such on, but that isn't important to Fujiko. We end with poetic thoughts from Maho talking about her in-water dreams and that Fujiko is possibly present in them. So, I got this manga because I wanted to do Pride Month, and I had two lined up, two paperback ones, one that I had read and one that you had bought me that I was going to read. And with June coming up for Pride Month, I started reading that one and then learned it was not a manga with chapters. It was like an autobiography, but it wasn't like a story. It was like 4 comas presented around concepts. So I'm like, dang, I need another manga. And of the ones that I have read, a lot of them, and which is at odds with, like, I mean, I guess I don't know what statistics are overall, but like in my own life circles, it's like I've run into a lot more trans femmes than I have trans masks, but most of the manga that I have read about gender are mostly trans mask, or at least non-binary and moving in that direction. So I was just like, I went to the Flop Discord and I said, hey, I'm looking for a trans femme manga to cover. And I got presented this. I did not know it was as old as this was.
Haha, presented.
Haha. And because, like I said, it was from 1998, you know, and like, I don't know how much you're in the know and in all of the kind of queer stuff. As a queer person myself, as non-binary, I'm kind of in there, like swimwear, and like the language for things can change fairly quickly in a way that words that were okay to use before aren't anymore. The way that we describe things changes so that the old term becomes passé, to put it lightly, I guess. And to have this, and like I say that to somewhat to the point of like, I don't know how much the localization massaged it, and this is a fan localization.
Yeah.
This is like an incredibly like forward-thinking, like there were very few, if any, spots that I went like, ugh, gross. Like, ooh, you guys have a old messed up understanding of this. Like,
I think a good way to put this If any of our listeners are familiar with Skip and Loafer, which I hope they are because we've recommended it a couple times now. In Skip and Loafer, the main character's aunt is
trans femme.
I don't know if she's transitioned, but yeah.
No, it's
trans femme.
You don't got to medically to be trans.
No, but I don't know. Anyway, point is, the way that they handle it in Skip and Loafer is like real and respectful and correct.
Empathetic.
Yeah. And when I was reading Double House, first chapter of Double House, I went, this is very much in line with that. This manga that's coming out in 2024, or rather, this manga that came out in 1998 was doing the right stuff that this manga in 2024 is also doing and showing.
Yeah. It is empathetic. It's understanding. The people in the manga gawk at her, but the manga is not gawking at her.
Right.
But also just the like, oh gosh. I said it in there a little bit, but her thing of like, when she finds the bar of like finally finding her seat. Like I think it's like her metaphor is like, I'm in a crowded theater and I finally found my seat. And that initial feeling, and then as she's there for a while and she's just like, but it doesn't feel
right. It's like, oh, I found my seat, except I don't like the play.
I don't like the play anymore, I think is a good way to put it. And like, it's one of the reasons we're doing this is I'm on my own little gender journey. Like you can find a spot that is home, but it's a constant search and understanding of what's going on. And I just really, that and the paved paths line, I really like felt. And I was just like, how? This manga is like 30 years old from Japan, who we've talked about on many occasions and other things. Like I said, anytime a crossdresser shows up, I instantly slam the what's the big button in Among Us? The meeting button. Oh yeah. I had that for Marriage Toxin. I went to the Discord and I was just like, hey, this manga has done other things that seem like they're on the up and up, but also this makes me super worried that it's like this is just an act, and it's just like, you get nervous that you're gonna get gawked at like, a plot device and not a human.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it's used as in a lot of manga and a lot of anime. It's just like, oh, look, this person who dresses like a woman, but they definitely look like a man. Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha. Or like they're a predator. Ha 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 ha. Freaking Persona 5 that came out did that to an extent. That was like a gay couple that is predators against one of the children.
I would say,
what the fuck are you doing?
To the credit of all of the stuff that I read, none of them present LGBTQ plus people as predators. There are definitely instances of them being sideshows or whatever.
Yeah.
There's plenty of isekai that have like, oh, this is the person who runs the weapon shop or whatever, and oh, look, they dress in dresses and they wear makeup and everything, but they're a big burly guy. It's like, okay, whatever. But they're always nice, kind people. So it's like, oh, you're so close.
You're so close, but also you're not. Like you're just like. You can be nice, but like, hi, I'd like respect.
Yeah.
This is what I would appreciate.
I want to give them credit because it's always like the protagonist meets them and is slightly uncomfortable at first and then goes, oh, there's no reason to be uncomfortable and this is a great person and I'm
okay. We're trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'll take it, I guess.
Credit where credit is due.
Credit where credit is partial credit is due. But no, I am in all of this manga from almost 30 years ago, capturing the vibe and the lived experience really well, but also just being compelling. Like, this doesn't feel like just
that's exactly it.
Here is a token trans person, which, I'm starved for it. I'm going to clap for it. I'm a seal. I'm not going to say I'm not biased about the situation, but like genuinely from chapter 1 being very emotionally invested.
Yeah, no. And that's what I I latched onto this because even though these are characters in situations that I can't really put myself into, there's the way that it is presented is so real and visceral.
Human.
The emotion came through it, and I connected with what these people were going through. I think it was very well done. It's a compelling narrative that is putting you in a place of discomfort that people experience day to day. And this journey, obviously, they're both going on a journey that they're gonna, come together on. But like, to be able, for me, who is not part of this, to be able to go, I feel this. I read it and I had to stop and take a couple minutes at the end of the chapter and just sit there because it went inside of me.
It made you feel things.
It didn't bounce off of me.
We haven't read anything like this, and admittedly that's because we mostly stay in a boys' magazine. But even if we didn't, like, I don't know what else. I mean, I'd like to know, because, like, also a lot of the times it's like these are, I mean, I guess this is somewhat of a romance, but this feels so much more... Yeah.
There's a lot of
stuff. We're talking about humanity and lived experience than, like, I want them to make kissy face, which isn't bad. That's valid.
I read all kinds of romance.
Yeah.
I read all kinds of things that are targeted at girls and women. Like, I have a whole podcast series on that, but, like, there's a level of empathy and putting myself in a situation that I can do because of that, because of these other things that I consume. This is still fairly outside of the realm of even those. And it did such a great job of just sort of cutting through all of the extra stuff that wasn't necessary. It didn't hold your hand through it. It just went, here's this person who's in this situation. Here's what they're going through.
Yeah. I would also just, because, I mean, we're talking about Maho's thing a lot because, it's Pride Month. That's the direction we're coming from. But, like, I like Fujiko's story, too, of that sensation. Like, and like Shori's saying, it's like, we're not so different, you and I. Like, there is a certain amount, even if the directions are completely different, of the same, of, like, you could have stuck in this situation being a boy and never being happy because that was where, that was the cards you were dealt, even if that's not where you'd be happy. And then, like, Fujiko specifically leaving her family and living in this tiniest little apartment, which was still a nicer apartment than, like, New York apartments comparatively.
It was like one,
even for
one room,
burst,
but it was still like...
It was a nice room.
Large.
I've seen worse ones in other places for, I mean, I guess they don't name a number, but like, in a different way, that willingness of that journey to throw yourself out of the safe zone to be happy and who you are and what form that takes.
Yeah.
And
well, and the other part there of, like, Fujiko had no hesitancy of, like, I'm in love with this person. I don't care what they're doing, how they're presenting or anything. Like, I have fallen in love with this person.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over it, but, like, they do have a lot of, funnily enough, when they go out, then when I said Maho's out incognito, like, she doesn't have her wig on, she's wearing a hat, she's wearing shades, she doesn't
still very long hair.
Yeah, still very long hair. To put it bluntly, she does not have her boobs in.
Yeah.
And they make, like, a little jokey comment about that in a very human way, but, like, Fujiko has to talk to her. It's like, it's not about how you're dressed up that you are a woman. Like, It was just like, and it was funnily at odds because as I was reading that, I was also digging into that one that you had got me, which I think it's like, at 30, I learned I had no gender. I think it was that, because Japan doesn't have non-binary. They have no gender, or X gender is their, like, non-binary gender. At least that's my current understanding of things. And it was wild how something from 30 years ago got the understanding of gender presentation, where so much of this more recent manga of when I learned at 30 I had no gender, is he's so or they're still, I never figured out which pronouns. They're so stuck in the minutia of presentation of like, well, I need to look like I have no gender. I can't look like I'm a man, even though they were born femme, even though they enjoy looking like that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like calm down.
Well,
like,
but that's everybody's got their a different journey.
Exactly, but it's like, it's just rest where your pendulum rests. And if your pendulum moves, it moves.
Well,
but don't constantly think, well, because that one, like I got frustrated with, and also kind of stopped reading because it was hard to read the 4 comas, is that it's like, you are getting stuck back in society's trap. You're feeling like you have to present a certain way. And instead of now having to present like you're a woman, because that's how you were quote unquote born, now you have to present as no gender. Like the whole point of leaving the gender binary is that you don't have to do that anymore. That's the point, that you get to decide which one you want, when you want, if at either.
Some people have a need to be labeled in a specific way. And, we can sit here and say, that's silly and you shouldn't do that and it would be better for your health if you didn't do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that's something that a lot of people just can't control.
No, it's just like
It's frustrating.
I've done that.
Sure.
I've seen other people
Yeah.
do that, drive themselves crazy and stress themselves of going, I need to look like this because this society is what society expects.
You
of
certainly
me.
want to grab them and sit them down and be
It's like
stop.
no, and also like
No.
if you're in the gender
some
thing,
help.
like you've already exited, that you've gone on your journey. You
Right.
understand that you don't need to do that. There's a thing, if you want to look more, if that's where you want to end up and you're stressing about it, then I understand that. But if you're trying to swing the pendulum back because you think that's what society wants instead of what you want, I don't know. I find that very exhausting. But yeah, like I cannot get over how this ancient manga is more like progressive and in line with my current understanding of things than some recent things that I have read. And also is just like really heartfelt, empathetic, and like I'm dying to read more chapters.
I mean, there is something to say about the fact that there's, in lots of ways, society has regressed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say against it, which admittedly the reread for the summary helped with, is, and also this is just a me Kermit problem, I sometimes had trouble keeping track of who was who.
Yeah.
Because I think I didn't notice that it was Fujiko at the cleaning thing, and I didn't know what that was, and I also thought it was Maho visiting the grandfather and not Fujiko, and that's why I got really confused when it's like, you're in this picture, and I thought that was, I'm like, no, that can't be Maho. She hadn't visibly, like, she hadn't societally transitioned at that point yet, that she'd be dressed like a little girl in her family. She left her, like, and it was just like, but once I, like, went back over it and, like, it clicked into place and I read again, and, like, some of that's just, like, the author doesn't draw, like, they're not different. Like, the art style does not differentiate humans enough for my brain to click onto it consistent. It also does not help that because Maho is wearing wigs, Maho will consistently each night have somewhat different hair.
It's
and the faces are similar enough to be sometimes confused.
It's a very simplistically drawn manga.
Yes, not bad.
There's not tons of detail, especially in people. The backgrounds are pretty good, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the cleaning thing and the pictures, I flipped back and forth a couple times.
Keeping track of people is sometimes a little difficult, but never too problematic. And like I said, like details later on made me go, oh, wait a minute. And I paged back and I understood things better.
If you pay very close attention, if you look at the eyes and the nose and a bit of like the mouth and chin structure, there is a differentiation there.
They have to. Maho has to be drawn in a way that you can still ID that it is Maho, despite her changing
but it is
wigs and then later
very
wearing
subtle.
Sunglasses and a hat to specifically be incognito. And it's like context clues will get you there, but
it wasn't enough of a problem to go like, oh, I can't tell what's going on.
I got tripped up a little bit. Yeah.
But it was, I noticed it.
As much as I want to be supportive for Pride Month, I still want to be honest of my experience.
Yeah. And it's not, I wouldn't say,
it's not a deal breaker in the slightest.
Not even close.
No.
If anything,
we've had first chapters of things much more confusedly drawn and put together to keep track of what's going on.
If anything, I would say there's no reason not to read this.
Yep.
It's only 3 chapters.
Yes, we have not said yet. There's only 3 chapters. I don't know why. I don't know why it stopped.
I think it's probably just a complete story.
It said completed, but on the decks of manga, but I don't know if that's because the story finished or just there were only ever 3 chapters. So now that we finally recorded this, I can finally read them.
It'll say canceled if it got
canceled. Interesting. Wow. Here and gone.
Yeah.
I'm infinitely more curious. But see, yeah, like, no excuse. It's Pride Month when you're listening to this, or it's after Pride Month. And you know what? Every month's Pride Month. Why not?
I would say...
Or you're in Wrath Month.
The first
in July.
chapter took, what, like 10 minutes to read? Maybe 15, if you're a little slower.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first chapter. It's long.
You could read all 3 chapters in half an hour, probably. There's no reason not to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to get to finally read that. So, out of that...
Do you remember who recommended this?
Oh, I'd have to look... Here,
we should give credit where credit is due.
Shout out who recommended it, because I asked on the Shonen Flop Discord. If you're listening to this, or if you know this human, thank you, Aura Paladin.
Oh, yeah?
For recommending Double House. It was real good, and I know a couple other people chimed in on that one, including Last of the Red Rose. So, yeah, good business, good stuff. So... because these are special episodes, we're doing things a mite differently. We're not going to do a vote. It's not in the magazine. I don't want to do that to these stories. I think you should just read them.
How do you think it's going to do?
It had 3 chapters and it finished almost 30 years ago. How do you think this will survive in Shonen Jump in the year 2024? No, I'm not doing that. I already don't like them enough for killing sports. I don't want to have to even think about them dealing with queer things. But we are going to do... What are your feelings about it? Of the normal VEG rating levels? Or not? Just, like, how do you feel about it?
So, I enjoyed it.
Yes.
Although, I find the word enjoy to not necessarily be the right word. But It's the only word that comes to my mind. Because it's compelling. I guess that might be a better word. Like... I'm glad I read it. I'm going to read the next 2 chapters, especially because it's so easy. But at the same time, it's like, this is a heavy subject.
It's not fun, but it is, compelling is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It feels enriching.
And it's not a drama, but maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know what the right...
I mean, how much do you read?
I'll say this.
Neither of us, I think, read melancholy manga.
It doesn't fit in a frame.
Hey.
So, I don't think I can say anything but good, because I almost feel like saying amazing would be disrespectful.
Okay.
But, like, it's really good.
Great? No? You can say good. I'm going to say great, but I also have more life experience to resonate with this with me. I mean, like I said, like Brad and I don't usually read melancholy manga that makes you sit and resonate. I think it's good that we're doing this. I'm glad that I did this.
I'm gonna do something different since we're doing stuff differently.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add a new level.
Yeah.
Important. Oh. This is important.
I don't think we've ever read an important manga yet on this show.
You should read this. Especially, like, if you are someone who has never had a journey, a gender or sexuality journey.
Identity.
Even if it's just...
journey. How about that?
Identity journey. Even if it's just, just thinking about it for 10 minutes, if that's never crossed your mind... I mean, I'm not sure why you're listening to this podcast in the first place, but...
Thank you for listening this far amidst everything.
If you are that kind of person...
You're not that kind of person.
Read this. Take half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is.
3 chapters.
Read this.
Couldn't be easier.
Just to get an additional perspective. It's healthy. It's important. And this is a really good one to do that with.
Shonen Jumping the Gun approved.
Yeah.
Read this manga.
It won't make you uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure, unless you're like... I mean, I don't know why you're listening to this, but it won't make you uncomfortable. It will expand your thoughts and feelings.
it could make you a little uncomfortable if it hits too close to home at times.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That feels like part of the process.
That's not the people I'm talking to
exactly.
right now.
I wanted to be more clear about it. So,
Well, why don't you talk to those people now?
I mean, I kind of just did.
Well,
like, I resonated with this a lot. I would say great. I like important.
Yeah.
Important, but without it being like homework. This is not.
Oh, yeah.
This is not. What's that horse manga Ben told us about?
I don't. Oh, Bamba.
Bamba.
Yeah.
Bamba's important, but also don't read Bamba. Yeah. Like Bamba is homework. Bamba is historical.
Yeah.
Like that's academic information. This is emotional information.
I mean, again, I did say I enjoyed it.
Yes,
even if I don't feel like that word is quite right.
I like to zero in on things about
Yeah.
what that means because it's like I have other things in my head that I know manga that are important. But like this feels like it needs an extra important, affectionate.
Yeah.
Instead of Bamba, which is important, derogatory. Gosh, I love picking that up as for language. You get to put spin on things now. You just get to stick the adjective afterwards and being able to stick derogatory off after positive statements. Just the clash of that just tickles me.
There might be some words in the thesaurus for this, but it's sort of late, and I can't come up with anything right now. So
this is a bit, and it's going over my head.
No, like important, enjoy, like there's probably more complicated words.
Oh, yeah, to capture this.
My vocabulary is not fully powered up right now.
Lacking.
So.
Oh, gotcha. Understood now. I mean, I think also we've made it really clear that we both want to keep reading the 2 remaining chapters. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't really care. I just want to keep following the story of both of them, and I want to see whether they get together or not isn't what's important to me. I just want to see more of their internal processes on these things.
Yeah.
Because I find them very compelling and resonant with me.
I imagine they're going to help each other.
Yes. Yeah, props to Fujiko for figuring it out and just bearing along anyways.
Yeah. Those kids, huh?
Hell yeah. Those kids in 1998. It's crazy kids. So thank you, everybody. That has been special Pride Month episode Double House, which we highly, highly recommend checking out. You can find it on the decks of manga, if you know what I mean. Googling will also probably bring you to that same spot. I like the localization, or I should say the translation. That's how I'm trying to say it, because this was not professionally done, to my knowledge.
No.
But it was very good. Never once did a human being wouldn't say this, alert ping off. I thought it was very good from top to bottom, at least for chapter 1. I think it's the same
typesetting
growth.
Could be better, but it wasn't bad per se.
Yeah. And with that, Brad, hit me with them plugs.
Yeah. So normal everyday plugs that we always have.
Yes.
We got Segoy Mart. We want to thank them. They're a great partner for us. Link in the description, or use code APR15 at checkout. You all know the drill. You can find everything else on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. And then we've got the Discord. Join us there. We can talk about gender stuff if you want.
We also talk about other things. We don't always gotta talk about it. But if you want to talk about it,
that's what we talk about all the rest of the time.
If you want to share stories, I'll talk with you.
Specifically for this month. And I guess into July.
Or message me on Discord personally. I'm giving you, this is a special Pride Month offer if you want to talk about gender stuff.
No guarantees. Continue talking.
No guarantees how long this offer will stand. The next, the first 5 listeners can message me for free.
And then also, of course, we've got our Patreon. Specifically, I'll call out the fact that we've got bonus episodes. We're probably going to have a bonus episode for June. It's related to all this Pride stuff. We've already got some stuff that we recorded. There's some more stuff that's
as
coming.
We record. Our you're going to hey, spoiler alert, you're getting a second Shonen Jumping the Gun Pride episode. So if I haven't already made that somehow out of the bag.
But all tiers get the bonus episodes. So make sure to check that out. And of course, we got to shout out our patrons. So at our reincarnator tier, we've got Cake Dwarf and Moon. At our emergent tier, we've got Kill Hour. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Rena. And of course, as always, thanks so much to our patrons.
Thank you once again for listening. Make sure you listen to our mainline podcast, That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster. And Brad, it's Pride Month, bitches!
every time you say cut all this, it just makes me want to leave it.
But it's not. This is not compelling.
I know, and this is
usually it's like I'm embarrassed by this, but this is actively like not interesting.
Yeah.
It's me sitting and scrolling on my phone. So yes, this has been special Pride Month episode Double House. I forget what I say here. I didn't know what to like. It was like, these have to be silly. There was nothing in Double House to be silly with. So
I mean, you could go with. Like,
I already know what one of this one is. Pride Month's over. Get ready for Wrath Month.
You could be like, now I'm going to put on my big sunglasses and floppy hat and let's go for a walk.
Do
you have a big floppy hat?
No, I don't usually. All my hats, because all my my non-baseball cap hats are cowboy hats, so my hats are very.
That could work.
Very masculine. I gotta rock the cowboy hat. I need to learn how to do more of my makeup. Because I do cowboy hat, makeup, my cowboy shirt, and then my skirt with the leggings. Because for a while, for the end part of when I was in Derby, I would do that. Because I had like a black skirt with a flamingo on it that was like a poodle skirt. Because flamingo was like the NSO's animal in the way that refs had zebras. And I was Kermit the Queer Cowboy. But I only did that a few times.